Why did you start eating meat again? I still eat mostly vegetarian food and have done all my life. However, my husband was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis and celiac, which means that a high-fiber, low-iron diet is not an option, and a lot of the substitutes aren't gluten-free. More often than not, when he has meat, I'll leave it or have the veggie equivalent, but there are just not enough hours in the day to make 2 separate lasagnas and sauce, etc. Got a genetic illness which makes me permanently anemic. My body only absorbs a tiny amount of iron from food, and that amount is burned pretty fast. Turns out it doesn't help to cut that tiny amount as well. Also, I didn't replace the meat, I just left it out, so I basically ate less food. I'm still as veggie as possible, but I moved to a country where it is 10,000% harder to be vegan, Japan. This is mostly due to not knowing a ton of Japanese and the fact that there is fish or meat in so many restaurant foods, and the culture here isn't like in America where you can ask for items to be removed or substitutions. Not that my Japanese ability would allow me to do that anyway. I was using veganism as a guise for an eating disorder for well over a year. When I finally realized I was in trouble after losing 80 pounds, I went and bought lamb chops and devoured them. Also therapy. I was on a diet for health reasons. When I was told I was allowed to eat meat again, my fridge started looking like a Mexican fever dream. I want to eat that dream. My aunt was a vegetarian for health reasons. The day she got diagnosed with cancer, she went to In-N-Out. Not me, but my brother-in-law went vegan for a stretch. One of his pet causes is donating blood. As soon as he's able to, he's down at the blood clinic donating again. Anyway, on a vegan diet, his blood iron levels got too low to donate blood. So it was back to meat for him. But his daughter, my niece, is still vegan, and it's driving them nuts, because she'll only eat those vegan chicken nuggets, and they're getting pricey. I was vegan for a year when I lived in a big city that had lots of inexpensive options for what one could eat. When I moved to a small town in beef country, the cost of good produce quadrupled, as did the cost of meat substitutes. I quickly learned that if I didn't eat whatever I could get my hands on, I would starve, so I started eating meat again. Some people say food deserts aren't real. They are. I was traveling in Africa and stayed in a small village off the beaten track. I had just arrived, and as the matriarch of my host family was showing me to my room and helping me get settled in, her boys were out back prepared a goat for me. I couldn't turn down that meal, because that goat represented a substantial part of the family's assets. The whole experience made me realize that the social constructs around sharing food are far more important to me than what the food is. If someone is serving it, I will eat it with gratitude. I wanted to see if it made me sick. I've since eaten it here and there, but it's not often. I was vegan, food and otherwise, for near a decade. I'm planning on going back because I can honestly say that I've not been missing out. It's possible to veganize about anything these days. Oh, also, no, it didn't make me sick at all. I lost a lot of weight to the point that people asked if I was okay. I was tired and had low energy. I ended up being anemic. I slowly ended up getting to a point that I started eating meat again. Hair loss and health issues got worse. I'm fine now. I was vegan for a year due to wanting to eat clean, and it backfired. Fairly stupid reason, because I broke up with my ex. I became a vegan to support her, and it felt weird eating meat while she was against it. When the relation was over, however, I no longer felt the need to support my ex in that way. Thus meat was back on the menu, boys. Not vegan but vegetarian. I was vegetarian for a good 4 years. Once I hit the 4-year mark, energy was at an all-time low, my whole body felt weak, and the kicker, I had very frequent nosebleeds. It was so often I was used to it for a while. Eventually the nosebleeds came to be too much, and I started eating meat again. Then the nosebleeds stopped altogether. I haven't had a single nosebleed thus far. Mind you, I quit being vegetarian 2 years ago. Was vegetarian for 12 years. Had a mental breakdown after a loss in the family, and instead of drinking or getting high, I went out and got a steak taco. Life is too short to miss out on tacos. I'm a vegan, but I'm on my annual cheat year. Wait, hold up. I had been vegetarian for 10 years. I became pregnant and was concerned that my baby wouldn't get all the nutrients she needed to develop in a healthy way. I still don't eat meat very often, and honestly the alternatives have come such a long way from when I tried my first veggie burger 20 years ago. I went from fat to extremely skinny and I hadn't strength. I wanted to have bigger muscles, so I started eating protein from veggies. It wasn't enough, I needed a lot per day to increase my muscles, so I started eating 2 eggs every day. And now, I eat 200 grams of meat 2 days a week just for easy protein. I still eat fruits and vegetables every day, I love it. The eggs and meat are just because I want muscles, lol. When I had a work-from-home job, preparing and cooking was a lot easier. Had a job change, it was far more active and I no longer worked at home. I wasn't able to eat at work, and I didn't have time to prep and cook like I used to. Started getting fainting spells, feeling lethargic, and overall shitty. I hadn't eaten meat in a year and a half in college. One day I was hungover and looked out the window and saw McDonald's having a sale on Big Macs for 69 cents. I ate 5, puked, and never looked back. Never looked back to what exactly? Eating meat, or being vegan. Being vegan was worth every vomit. I went vegan, plant-based, to help with my skin condition. It went well for the 1 year I did it, then my skin started getting worse. My doctor prescribed a medication that worked very well for me. I started eating eggs again, and then I was feeling faint a lot, found out I needed iron, and well, a nice piece of steak was full of it. I don't generally eat animal products, very rarely meat, but I noticed a big problem with my relationship with food when I was too strict. I'd restrict and then binge hard, either on junk food that's vegan, Oreos and fries, chips, or on things I shouldn't be eating. So I decided I wouldn't have any shit rules around food, but am still conscious of my choices, and make better decisions with that bit of freedom. Went vegan to lose some weight before my wedding. Actually really liked it and stuck with it. Then months later I went to Europe on my honeymoon. Felt like it would be a shame to miss out on all the good food for a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Then I slowly would cheat more and more with non-vegan food, and then I was basically back to not being a vegan and occasionally eating vegan food. When I was pregnant, was totally over. My body craved meat.